Welcome back. Season 2, Episode 1 of the Q Review. Back for the 2023-2024 season. We are back in action. Your one-stop shop for everything Quebec Major Junior Hockey League and the unofficial podcast of the QMJHL. Welcome back, Theo, my co-host. How was your summer?
Oh, it's been electric, Chris. It's been a hell of a summer. Shitty weather, but other than that, it's been electric to see everybody and see friends and family for sure. What about you?
Not a lot. It's back in the Valley, and we're back in Halifax now, but in the Valley for the summer. Worked a little bit. What was your highlight of the summer?
I would have to say Cavi. Cavi was a big one. Seeing Chris Stapleton was absolutely electric. My phone died in the middle of the concert, but so I got a real view of Chris, and it was pretty awesome. What about you?
Who is your favorite artist?
Like there?
Yeah.
I would have to say Chris.
Chris Stapleton?
He was unreal. Yeah, for sure. And
okay.
I'm not a big fan of what's his name? Oh, see, I already forget his name.
Kane Brown?
Yeah, Kane Brown.
Yeah, not a lot of people are.
Yeah, no, he wasn't. He was all right, though. What was your highlight?
I was told that, a majority of people that liked Kane Brown were, old women. They were,
I can see that.
50 plus.
I can see the MILFs liking Kane Brown for sure. I don't know. Yeah. What about you, though? What was your highlight?
So I went to YQM in Moncton.
Absolutely.
Hot take, but Morgan Wallen live kind of sucks.
I see. You're not the only one. My sister said the same thing. She said that Keith Urban had a better performance.
I actually skipped out on Keith Urban.
Oh.
So my brother just turned 19. He wanted to go to the casino. So, not going to lie, Keith Urban's kind of past my age.
You can't pass that up to a casino.
Yeah, he wasn't a big fan that it was $15 minimum bets. He's used to playing the gambling apps where you can bet a loony or a toonie at a time.
Hey, well, that's better.
Yeah, we didn't do so hot. He did better than I did, but it wasn't great. I just think Morgan Wallen's a pretty new artist. Me and my girlfriend were talking about this. You have to build a stage presence. Guys like Keith Urban, guys like Thomas Rhett, they've been performing forever.
Yeah.
But Morgan Wallen being so new, he's just up there to sing. Didn't really interact with the crowd too much.
Yeah, you can't be having that.
So I think you give him a few years, and I think he'll be a pretty solid performer.
And plus, you have to give him a break, too. He is on tour. He still is. He might be tired. I don't know.
Oh man, yeah, he was the back of his U.S. tour, and they just decided to stop in. Yeah, well, he went to Boston. I know that he was at Fenway.
Mm-hmm.
I only know that because when tickets came out and they were $600, I debated just flying to Boston and go and watch them. Well, honestly, it was I thought it would have been the same price, but tickets for that Fenway one were $700. So I was
yeah, no,
hard pass.
Yeah, no to that.
No sponsorship money here. Funds are hurt.
Funds
I only went because I got my tax return. That's the only reason I went.
Yeah, and all my buddies were joking around. Their EIs coming in, so.
Oh, jeez. Must be nice.
Yeah. Anything else?
I played baseball all summer. My body's not liking me for that. But it was good. We didn't win a game all season, which is tough. But it's a funny story. I was announcing in Kentville, which for anyone listening, that's about an hour from Halifax. I was announcing for Kentville, and I was talking to the other team's coach, looking for lineups and pronunciations and all that stuff. And he's like, "Hey, do you still play ball?" I knew him from last year, so him and Stefano's his name. He's like, "Do you still play ball?" And I was like, "Well, haven't since high school, so 6 years ago."
Yeah.
He's like, "Well, you want to play? We got extra spots." I was like, "Man, I don't know. I don't think my arm can do it." And he's like, "Where do you play?" I said, "Well, if I'm playing, I'm going to play second base because I don't think I can throw further than that."
Yeah.
Maybe lacked a little confidence then, but once the season got going, got a few hits, got an RBI in my last game.
There you go.
did end up playing third base, which is a long throw for anyone that's never played baseball before. That's a long throw. But yeah, be playing again next year, hopefully, and see what happens.
Hopefully get a win. That's your goal.
Hopefully get a win. I just clued in. That means I haven't gotten a win in baseball in 6 years. That's like a worse drought than the Leafs.
There's also other sports too.
That's a worse drought than the Leafs. That's awful. All right. Let's get into it here. So, like we promised, we're going to have a preview of the whole season. A couple news notes, actually. So, first of all, Friday, which you guys will be listening, will be today. Nathan MacKinnon will have his number retired by the Halifax Mooseheads. Pretty cool honor. I will be at that game. What's your favorite memory of Nathan MacKinnon?
Mine?
Yeah.
Oh,
Mooseheads, of course.
Well, see, I was pretty young in the 2013 run, but I remember I was at that game when they beat Baie-Comeau in I think it was the finals. Yeah, the President's Cup finals, and I think MacKinnon in that final game had like 5 points. He absolutely wrecked, and Drew had too. But just that crowd was just absolutely insane. Maybe not a MacKinnon memory, but just knowing he was the biggest factor in that run was just absolutely unreal. And obviously the Memorial Cup run when he got that hat trick in the final, that was obviously a big memory. What about you?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think when I think of Nathan MacKinnon with the Mooseheads, it has to be the Memorial Cup finals getting a hat trick. Like, he was neck and neck with Seth Jones all season for first and second pick. And I think that really solidified being first pick. Like, he was just clutch, definition of clutch. He might have even had like 5 points or 6 points in that game. So that's easily the biggest memory. Yeah. And also Brad Marchand named captain of the Boston Bruins today.
Yeah.
Is that the right pick?
I would say so. Yeah, there's not, obviously everybody I seen in the comments on like Instagram or Twitter or whatever saying that Pasternak should have got it, but I think after Marchand, he should get it. But I think the right pick as of now is Marchand for sure. He's the longest on the team, so that's what I would say.
I mean, Charlie McAvoy could have easily been the guy. I think a lot of people were surprised just because Marchand's like tail end of his career. Might have 4 or 5 years left. What is he, 36, 37?
Yeah, he's 36.
So he's probably got like 4 years left-ish. So, yeah, I think it was probably the right choice, especially, longest tenured Bruin on that team, I think. Yeah. So, can't go wrong with that.
Be a good pick too, though. You are right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think McAvoy will probably be the next guy after him.
That's not bad. That's not a bad pick.
All right. Shall we get into the preview?
Let's do it.
All right. So because we're from the Maritimes and we like the Maritimes and the Maritimes the greatest place on earth, we're going to start with the Maritime division, starting off with the Acadie Bathurst Titan. Missed the playoffs last year. 20, 40, and 8 for a astounding 48 points. I'd just like to point out that Halifax and Quebec more than doubled that. Big additions. They really only added Colby Huggan from Blainville and Milo Rollins from Sherbrooke. It's couple pretty good ads. I don't think Bathurst's gonna be that competitive this year. And as far as subtractions go, Mathis Lacroix Goulet goes to Baie-Comeau. A lot of their big losses were in the offseason. So Ben Allison, Cole Larkin, and Jan Bednar are all aged out. Yeah. As well as Jake Uberti, who they picked up in the OHL. Yeah. What do you think of this Bathurst team this year?
So speaking of Colby Huggan, a lot of Maritime boys like Colby Huggan from PEI, Joey Henneberry from Halifax, just obviously the scouts know what they know what they like with the Maritime guys. And I would say a lot, I wouldn't say a lot better, but they're definitely improving. Obviously losing Allison and Kidney when he went to Gatineau last year, big factors. And
Melanson too.
Melanson, yeah. And I would say they're still in the middle of the pack. I don't think they're dead last. Just because everybody's getting older from last year too. Yeah, what are you thinking?
I think their crappy year was last year. Like every team always has like
That's what I mean.
One crappy year.
Yeah.
I'm just taking a look at the draft from last year. I knew I forgot something in my notes. So as far as draft picks go, they didn't draft in the first round. So, I think they'll be like similar to last season, but definitely not as, I don't want to say bad. That's not a great word to use.
Yeah.
So they drafted in the second round. They got Louis-Francois Boulanger, little centerman from Quebec. Maybe he'll do some damage. So, I don't think they'll be that bad. I think they'll be okay. But the Maritimes, I'm also thinking is going to be a little more competitive than last year. Like, I think Halifax was no-brainer first place last year.
Yeah.
Everyone knew that. Yeah. But I think you'll see a couple other teams compete.
Mm-hmm.
You go ahead.
No, I just from buddies on T10 but everybody's been saying about this Louis-Francois Boulanger guy. Have you heard of him? You just mentioned him, didn't you?
Yeah, the draft pick.
Yeah, I guess he all the boys were saying that he had a terrific rookie camp. So I think you should definitely see him a whole lot this year.
Okay, right on. So that'll be a guy to watch.
Yeah.
Next up, we have also Bathurst has 5 guys at camps right now. Josh Fleming, Joey Henneberry, friend of the show, Ty Higgins, Antoine Keller, and Milo Rollins are all at NHL camps.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll start the season off without a couple of those guys probably.
Yeah.
Next up, we got the Cape Breton Eagles, 3rd in the Maritime Division last year, lost in the first round to Halifax via sweep. There was actually 3 overtime games in that first round. So Cape Breton definitely made a statement, even though they did get swept.
Yeah.
Additions, Luke McPhee, who's a Halifax boy. Cole Burbage, that's another big move from St. John. Cam McDonald, friend of the show from Gatineau. Elliot Kavanaugh from Gatineau. And they only really lost Charles Boutin and Owen Arnold from last year. And I'm pretty sure Owen Arnold might be playing Junior A. So a couple big losses in Ivan and Samuel Johnson. They're 2 aged out players.
Yeah.
Oliver Shatney I did not see on the Cape Breton roster, so I'm not sure where he's at. He's not 20, so... And unfortunately, Jacob Newcomb will start the season sitting out, as we posted on our story. He's battling, is it non-Hodgkin's lymphoma?
Yeah.
So we want to send our prayers and wishes to Jacob's family as he goes through this time. And at NHL camp, they got Cole Burbage, Cam McDonald, Braden Schmidt, and Cam Squires.
Mm-hmm.
So 4 big guys that'll be sitting out for a bit. Cape Breton, what do you think?
I just think they're going to be steady for sure. Like, I think a little better than last year, but losing Ivan, it was a huge loss. But like what you saw in the playoffs, he kind of carried the team for sure. Didn't he get he got a hat trick in one of the games, I'm pretty sure, and it was in Halifax. But there's some key additions as well. But what's the goalie status? Did you say who do you think is going to start?
I think Nick Vrucha is the easy one.
Yeah.
But as Shatney, I don't know where he went.
Yeah,
they were arguably the best goalie duo last year in the league.
He carried the most shutouts for most of the year, didn't he? Oliver Shatney.
Yeah. So maybe he went back to Czechia. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll find that out. But yeah, no, I think they're gonna. I think they're gonna surprise some people, in my opinion. And they got some motivation from last year's playoff, even though they did get swept, but they did keep in a fight for sure. What do you think?
For Cape Breton,
yeah,
they're a team on the upswing. I think their rebuild's over.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say they're contender, but I would say they're going to compete in the playoffs. They showed it last year with Halifax. Like, that's a pretty hard team to keep up with.
Mm-hmm.
Their problem was they just couldn't outscore them. And adding guys like Burbage, Cam McDonald, like, they're going to score a lot more this year. Next up, Charlottetown Islanders. They were 4th in the Maritimes, lost in the first round to Quebec via sweep.
Mm-hmm.
Big addition was Cole Huckins from Sherbrooke, Calgary Flames prospect. I guess he didn't re-sign, so I guess he's not technically a prospect anymore. Mm-hmm. And they lost Peter Repchi, who went to Drummondville. They also lost Jeremy Biakabatuka, now that I know how to pronounce that name.
There you go. That was smooth.
And at NHL camp, they got Michael Horth in Jersey and Lucas Romeo in Chicago. Another team that I'm not quite sure what is going on there. They were okay last year. I wouldn't say they were turning many heads.
Mm-hmm.
They got rid of Brabanich and Frankie LaPena, so that's, I guess you could technically call a rebuild.
Huge loss, too.
So that's another team that's kind of on the fence. I don't think they're going to be terrible, but I don't think they're going to be that good. That's what I mean. The Maritime division is way better than last year.
Yeah, for sure. And it's going to be a bloodbath, in my opinion, of all these teams. We just never know. Like last year, obviously, like we kind of knew like Halifax was going to, and Moncton were going to kind of steamroll, but now it's kind of tight. And the thing with Charlottetown, they have a bunch of like old guys, and then they have like some rookies, so they're kind of flip-flopping. I don't know.
Yeah, last year was a 4-team league.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention Cape Breton also picked up Emile Ricard in the first round. And they also got Luke Foley in the second round. Luke Foley, I'm pretty sure, is starting in Junior A, but that's a guy I'm keeping an eye on in the future. And as well, Charlottetown, don't believe they picked in the first round. They didn't. And yeah, so I just think, I don't really know where this team's going, but Cole Huckins is a good addition.
Yeah.
Did he play good because he was with Sherbrooke? Who knows?
Big body.
He's a big body. He can score when needed.
Yeah. Peter
Repchik's a big loss. That's a big loss. He was one of their leading scorers, lit up the World Juniors last year. So
Is it a hot take to drop them down with like kind of the Sea Dogs and them in last, kind of tied?
I think Charlottetown and Bathurst will duke it out for last in the division.
You think? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Halifax, pretty self-explanatory. 107 points, first in the Maritimes division. Lost in the finals to Quebec 4-2. They didn't make any trades in the offseason, but they did lose. Get ready for this. Attilio Biasca, who went to Switzerland. Zach Leroux, who's going pro. Mm-hmm. Alex Doucette, Josh Lawrence, and Evan Boucher, who aged out. And Cam Wynot, who could have played as a 20-year-old, but he will be playing at Acadia University.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have 6 guys at NHL camp. Matt Cataford, Jordan Dume, Jake Furlong, Dylan MacKinnon, Mathis Rousseau, and Marcus Vidicek.
Mm-hmm.
Safe to say they'll win the division this year?
Yeah. But losing those 6 guys, that's 6 guys that you named, and those are key guys. But I think they still do a good job because they still have a lot of key guys like what you just mentioned, those players, and like the defensemen are still really good, like Dylan MacKinnon, who just got drafted by Nashville, and Jake Todd's gonna be playing a lot more, and yeah, that's
Logan Crosby,
yeah.
Liam Kilfoyle is supposed to be a pretty good prospect for them. Got him in the second round.
Yeah, there you go.
And I've heard a lot of good things about Jack Milner, who's playing backup this year instead of Brady James. I think a lot of people are happy with that. At least every Mooseheads fan that I've talked to. So the one question mark I have is, I know it's a long shot, but what if Jordan Dume makes the Blue Jackets? Then the whole structure of this team changes. Do they go from contender to rebuilder?
I would just gonna say that I would put them in the rebuild spot for sure. You've
Like
already,
Jordan Dume kind of defines this whole season.
yeah. But I would say I don't know. The Blue Jackets, I don't know what they're thinking, because the thing about him is just the size.
I didn't think of him making it until we were listening to I was listening to the Wildcast podcast. And if you look at the Columbus depth chart, there's not too many guys that are better than Jordan Dume.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, just
I don't know. I know it's a long shot, but
yeah.
yeah,
And we
that's
don't
a
know
big.
we just don't know the scouts too. Like who's what. Like I don't know if they know too much about him. Like people
That's
don't
a
realize that
huge question mark. Huge
people
question
don't
mark.
realize that this guy was second of points behind Bedard.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's no, I don't. It's hard to say.
Yeah, who knows?
All right. Moncton Wildcats, second in the Maritimes division last year. Lost in the second round to Halifax, reverse sweep. So anyone that doesn't know what that means, Moncton took the first one, and then Halifax won the next four.
Mm-hmm.
Their big additions, Olivier Boutin from Gatineau, and then Caleb Desnoyers, first overall in the draft.
Yeah.
They traded away Hugo Marcel, Manik Saracen, Vincent Filion, Maxim Barbashev, Vincent Legaret, Justin Dume, Isaiah Parent, and Luc McPhee, and they also had Charles Baudouin age out and Vinny LaBelle. So they're obviously pretty confident in the team they already have if they're trading away guys like Barbashev and Filion and Marcel.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another. And then NHL camp, they got Preston Lounsbury, Johan Loshing, Etienne Morin, Oscar Plendowski, and Julius Sumpf.
Yeah. Well, my predictions are going to be a lot nicer than last year's. That's yeah. But the Desnoyers, I'm butchering his last name.
Desnoyers.
We're talking about Dume. I think I know we're kind of overhyping him a bit, maybe, but I think this is going to be like a team around him. Is that a hot take? I don't
No,
know.
no.
I think he should have a really good year. Seeing what he did in Quebec in his minor league days were kind of insane. So I think he should be fine, and I think Moncton will do fine for sure. I have them second behind Mooseheads, but yeah.
Yeah, I think Jacob Steinman showed being the defensive rookie of the year last year. I think he'll be an important factor.
Yeah.
I think they'll be a good team. I don't see anything wrong with what they're doing. They're not doing anything out of the ordinary. Like I said, they have so many young guys coming in. They had to say goodbye to a lot of those veteran guys like Filion, Marcel, and all those other guys like McPhee. A lot of 06s on there too. There just wasn't room for them. It was hard to.
Yeah, and now there is.
And they'll go to other teams like Dume's going to Gatineau, Parent's going to Gatineau, who lost essentially their whole roster.
Yeah.
So I think Moncton will be fine. So Wildcast Podcast, we support your team.
Yeah. Don't hate on me anymore.
Next up, we got the St. John Sea Dogs, fifth in the Maritimes division, and they lost 4-1 in round one to Gatineau. They added Mathis Gauthier from Rimouski, Ellie Warren from Rimouski, who's Noah Warren's brother, and Mateo Mann, a huge and surprising addition for the Sea Dogs. Philadelphia prospect, got him from Chicoutimi. And then their only real subtractions were Cole Burbage and Olivier Bordeaux. Plus, they lost Brady Burns and Charlie Desroches from aging out.
Yeah.
Both playing at Acadia.
Yeah.
And Mateo Mann's the only one at NHL camp. What do we think of the Sea Dogs?
Yeah, like I said before, I just don't. I just can't really see them high. I don't know. Like kind of them and Charlottetown kind of have a similar team with like a lot of older players, but a lot of young guys too. So they're kind of in the mix of a rebuild. And I don't know what their plan is going to be in the next few years. But what's the goalie situation for the Dogs?
I believe it's going to be Actually, I think it's two guys I never heard of before.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but yeah, I don't know. The goaltending could be a huge factor too, but I don't really see eye on them, especially with Brady Burns leaving. That's a huge loss. And but switching topics, I think Acadia could Acadia be nasty this year? I know we shouldn't be talking.
Well, I mean, I am the play-by-play guy for Dow, so
Yeah.
I can't. I'm not.
All right. You know.
But they topped Dow 7-1 in preseason yesterday, so I don't know. They got a lot of good guys coming in. I've said for years that Acadia needs to get more guys from the queue, and they got, I think it was 3 or 4 this year.
Yeah.
Patrick Lever and Justin Robinson are the 2 goalies for the Sea Dogs. Pat Lever came from the OHL.
Oh, okay.
So I think he's an 03 as well. Yes, he's an 03. So he's one of their 20-year-olds. In my opinion, I think the Sea Dogs traded their way out of a high draft pick this year. Mateo Mann's a great player, but if you're a team that's trying to rebuild after a Mem Cup, why get him?
Yeah.
Same with Mathis Gauthier. Like, he's probably one of the best 20-year-olds that are available. So I think they just traded themselves out of a high pick. Obviously, they're trying to be competitive now, but if they're not competitive, then what are they going to do?
Yeah. That's what
Pete Reynolds will be a high trade chip this year. Yeah, I think he'll be a pretty high trade chip. Even Mateo Mann, I don't know how long he's going to last with them, but
yeah,
prove me wrong, Sea Dogs.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not hating either. I think I'm with the Sea Dogs. Go Dogs.
Okay, and real quick, what are your standing predictions? Just really quick. You don't need to explain them. Just
okay. So, wait, I have them written down. Okay, I got Mooseheads,
yep.
Cats, Eagles,
yep.
T10, Islanders, and then was that it? Yeah.
And
the Dogs last.
Sea Dogs last.
Sorry, Charlotte. Wait, what did I write down? I kind of forgot what I wrote down.
Well, I've got Halifax.
But that's what I mean. I that's the predictions are hard. Okay.
I've got Halifax.
Yeah.
And then I've got like an arrow between Moncton and Cape Breton. I think it could go either way.
That's fair.
I've got the Sea Dogs, just because the reasons I said before, trading for Mateo Mann. I think they're just going to play themselves out of a good draft pick.
Yeah.
And then I've got Charlottetown, Bathurst, also with that funny arrow, because it could go either way.
But that's what I mean. With those last 3 teams, the Dogs, the T10, and the Islanders could literally, I think, could go. We don't know. It could go either way, in my opinion. But we'll see.
Next up, we got the West Division, starting off with Blainville, who lost in the first round to Sherbrooke last year. Their season didn't go quite as planned. Josh Lawrence and Pat Gay and Will Trudeau were supposed to play for them.
Mm-hmm.
And then Pat Gay and Will Trudeau signed pro. So that didn't go so well. Didn't really add anyone besides Edward Gauthier from Victoriaville, a goalie. Lost Colby Huggan and Mikhail Dennis, who is a huge loss, actually. He went to Rimouski. Mm-hmm. And at NHL camp is Jonathan Fauchon for the Flyers.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I see it we'll go to you first. Because this is an unknown for me.
Yeah, so I think
yes. See, it's I
this division is a 1-team race.
Yeah.
In my opinion. I don't think it's going to be anyone else, spoiler, besides Rouen or Aranda.
Yeah.
The bottom 3 teams are very similar.
Yeah.
I don't know. Trading away Huggan and Dennis tells me that, they're going to get Charles-Edouard Gravel back. They got a lot of their guys like James Swan. I want to look at their roster really quickly because that might jog my memory.
Like Leighton Crothers on Rouen could be Could be a huge. He's not. Wait. You shaking your head?
I didn't shake my head.
Oh, I thought you were. But he could be a key addition too. Because he had a trouble in urines with the dogs a couple years ago, but now I think he's going to step up for sure.
Yeah, so I think with Blainville, they've got a lot of 06s. I see a lot of 05s. Their defense is very mediocre at best.
Yeah.
But, they got weapons up there like Fauchon. They got James Swan. They drafted Zach Wheeler, who I'm excited to watch. I don't know if you remember Zach Wheeler from the Moncton Flyers.
I remember.
Yeah, so I think, they have some young pieces, and they'll be fun to watch. Similar to a Cape Breton last year. Next on, we move to Gatineau, who 105 points, first in the division, lost in the third round to Quebec via sweep. They have way too many transactions for me to read. Big ones, they picked up Corey McGilvery from Rimouski and Charles Boutin from Cape Breton.
Charles Boutin isn't a bad pick at all, though.
So they traded away Cam McDonald to Cape Breton, Noah Warren to Victoriaville, Antoine Verreau to Rouen-Noranda, Olivier Boutin to Moncton. And here comes the notable losses. Alexis Gendron, pro. Riley Kidney, pro. Yeah. Frankie LaPena, aged out. Cole Cormier, aged out. Zach Dean, pro. Olivier Nadeau, pro. Marcel signed pro. Isaac Bellevaux is aged out. And Hakan Hanel decided to go to Germany. Tristan Leno and Sam Savoie at NHL camps with Anaheim and Chicago, respectively. Rebuild time?
Yeah. Losing Kidney and LaPena, like they're two star players. And obviously other players too. But Cam McDonald, but just rebuild to the max. I think for all this West Division, like you said before, I think most of these teams are going to rebuild or are already in the rebuild process. So, yeah.
Between trades and the list I just read off, that's 14 guys that were on the team last year that will not be on the team this year.
They have a new team. They
have a new team, essentially. Yeah. If we look at Gatineau, I'm going to pull up Gatineau's roster on Elite Prospects because it is I was looking at it, and Tristan Linnell will be back.
Yeah.
Sam Savoie, those guys I expect to be traded. If they're not traded, then that's just poor asset management, if you ask me. Vincent Maisonneuve is back from last year. That's pretty well it. So that's and Joey Vetrano.
Yeah.
But neither of them made significant impacts. Maybe Maisonneuve. But
yeah.
It'll be a tough season in Gatineau this year.
Yeah. The fans might be a little quieter than last year, that's for sure.
Next up, we don't need to talk about this team much. The Rouen-Noranda Huskies. They were named the top team in the CHL for the preseason rankings. Third in the West Division. They lost in the second round to Gatineau. Additions: Andre Loshko, William Rousseau, Antonin Verreau, Jeremy Langlaw. And they didn't really lose anyone significant besides Thomas Couture and Tristan Allard. Maybe Jacob Huger, depending on where you're at with him. Bill Zonin, Daniil Borash, Dylan Gill's still there. Like, they got 5-6 guys at camp. That's usually a good sign your team's going to be good.
Yeah. Bill Zon's I was all hyping him up last year. He had a pretty good year, and I think that now that he's with a good team, he's going to even perform even better. And I think that's for all the rookie guys like Crothers and all the other. But I think everybody's going to step up for sure.
Yeah, Alex Carr's still there. Mathis Perron's still there. Thomas Verdon is still there.
Yeah.
This team's gross. This team's unreal.
I think Alex Carr got captain, if I'm mistaken.
Alex Carr, man. Like, this team's solid. I don't see any holes on this team.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Like I said, we don't need to talk much about them. They're contender this year. And last but not least, in the, I believe it's the East Division. No, the West Division, sorry, is Val-d'Or.
Yeah.
I think they missed the playoffs last year, 52 points. I think they'll be better. They're a team that had a lot of young guys on it. They lost Mathis Fernandez, Noah Cousineau, and Francis Woods. What are your thoughts on the Val-d'Or Foreurs?
Yeah, another team that I don't really know much about this year, but obviously losing all those players in Robida last year. Yeah, I could lie to you right now and say that they're gonna be decent, but I have no idea. I think everybody's chasing for Rouen, like you mentioned, so the standings could go either way, but I'm guessing they're not going to do that great. So I would have them in last. That's a hot take. I don't know.
Yeah, they got a lot of guys from last year that are obviously older and ready to perform. Val-d'Or got Philip Veilleux 11th overall, so that's a pretty important piece. And if you look down their lineup, they also have Nathan Brisson from last year, first rounder. Mm-hmm. Nathan Drapeau, first rounder, if I'm not mistaken. Nathan Barry. Mathis Lucier was good last year. William Blackburn's back, who was also great. Mm-hmm. They picked up Charles-Antoine Pilot from Gatineau, so he's got some winning experience. Alexander Gaudio from Rimouski. They'll be okay, I think.
Yeah.
If anyone has promise in this division, it's Val-d'Or.
Yeah.
So what are your predictions for the West?
Okay, so Rouen, obviously, first. Just wait, I need to find them real quick. Just go to what? So I got Rouen. This was a toss-up between it could go either way of Armada and Olympique, but I'll have Armada above them, if that's a hot take. And then Gatineau third, and then Val-d'Or fourth.
No way.
Yeah.
I've got Rouen, Noranda, Val-d'Or, Blainville, Gatineau.
Yeah.
You know, the chemistry's there with Val-d'Or, man. They basically had the same team as last year.
And plus, yeah, you might have.
Gatineau just lost way too many guys. I just can't see them competing.
Yeah, losing 14 guys is
insane.
It's absurd.
All right, next up, Central Division. Drummondville Voltigeur, fourth in the Central, lost in the second round to Sherbrooke via sweep. They did upset Victoriaville in the first round, which was my call. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. How are you doing?
They picked up Ethan Gauthier at the draft from Sherbrooke and Peter Repchi from Charlottetown. Lost Mannix Landry, Jeremy Lapointe, and Xavier Fortin, and Jacob Gooby, who, I don't know if you heard, got cut from the team or let go. Or. And I was talking to one of my friends, and he's playing lacrosse for the St. Mary's Huskies now.
Oh, wow.
They've got Tyler Peddle, Riley Mercer, Maverick Lamoureux, friend of the show, Ethan Gauthier, Drew Elliott, and Mikhail Diotte, who Maverick told us is nasty. Mikhail Diotte, and he's going to be at Calgary's camp. Drummondville is a favorite in this division.
First. I think first, if that's a hot take. Seeing how many key additions they added, but that Jake Gooby, I didn't know that. So what are they going to do with that? Who's playing? Is that also an unknown?
What do you mean? Who's in net for them?
Yeah.
Oh, it'd be Mercer.
And then, but the parent.
The parent.
Like who would be second? Who would be the second?
The backup.
Yeah.
The parent.
What? What did I say?
You said who would be the parent?
Oh, well.
Wake up, man.
Yeah.
Louis Felix Charrois.
Yeah. Well, Charrois. I don't know. Either way.
They got Matteo Rotondi back. Sam Oliver. Luke Woodworth, of course.
Yeah.
Surprised he didn't get invited to camp.
Yeah. Just seeing all these
Maybe
guys.
He's too old. Is he a 20? He's a 20.
Oh,
no. Woody's not 20 yet.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
So they still got another year of Woody after this.
Yeah. That's what I mean. I think they're similar to Rouen. Not as good a couple years ago, and then they just build up, and then now they have a kind of really good team. And I have them first for sure.
Okay, Shawinigan third in the Central, lost in the first round to Rwanda 4-1. They added Max Barbashev, which is a good move.
Mm-hmm.
They also lost Antoine Colombe and Lorenzo Canonica, who went to Switzerland.
Mm-hmm.
They've got Alexis Bonfant, Angus Booth, Jordan Tarigny, and Barbashev at camp. This is a team I think is rebuilding a lot quicker than people expected.
Mm-hmm.
They're only a couple years from winning a championship. I like their team. I think they're a top 2.
Yeah.
I think they're a top 2.
Yeah. There's not much to add. They haven't really lost key guys. Still have great goaltending too, which is I have them top 2 as well.
And I think, you think about, I just want to see what the goalie situation is in Shawinigan. Remy Delafontaine, Felix Hamel, they picked up from Baie-Comeau, who had a good season last year. Tarigny and Booth on the back end is pretty nasty. Cole Chandler they got in the first round. I forgot about that.
I forgot about Cole Chandler. Yeah.
Felix Lessert, who led the team in scoring as a rookie. I think they'll be good. I think this is probably one of the most competitive divisions this year is the Central.
Yeah, this should be a good one for sure.
The Central, yeah.
Yeah.
Next up, we got Sherbrooke. Talk about losing, guys. 105 points, lost in the third round to Halifax 4-2. Didn't really add anyone besides Hugo Marcel, Xavier Saracen, and Jacob Huger. They lost Cole Huckins, Ethan Gauthier, Justin Gill, and Milo Rollins.
Yeah.
They also lost Josh Waugh to pro, David Spacek to pro, Jacob Melanson to pro, Tyson Hines to pro, Jacob Rabanich to pro, Marc-Andre Gaudette to pro, Joe Fleming to pro, Anthony Monroe-Boucher, who aged out, and Olivier Adam, who aged out. Fun fact, 12 of the 13 top scorers on the Phoenix are no longer on the team.
Crazy.
Except for Israel Menenskim.
Yeah. It's way too similar to Gatineau.
Rebuild season.
Yeah. Losing all these guys, and all these teams in the Central Division are stacking up or kind of done the rebuild or just finishing the rebuild, and these guys are just starting. So I think it should be a long year for these guys.
Menanscombe and Samuel St. Hilaire are at NHL camps. Next up, Victoriaville. Second in the Central last year, lost in the first round to Drummondville 4-1. Picked up Noah Warren. I don't really see anyone too significant that they lost. Thomas Bellegarde aged out. William Viette aged out. Thomas Belzile, friend of the show, he aged out. And Frederick Brunet went pro. Noah Warren's at NHL camp with the Anaheim Ducks.
Yeah.
This team is pretty much the same as last year. So I think, they were a CHL top 10 team last year, and I'm pretty sure they came in at 7.
At 7, yeah, they are.
They are at 7. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Looking down their lineup.
They haven't really changed. What you said, like having Diago is still huge. He's gonna have a terrific year for sure. And yeah.
Well, not only Gabe, but they also got Nathan Darvaux, who was like goalie of the year.
Yeah.
They're stacked in net. Their defense is good.
Mm-hmm. They could, that's
Tommy Cormier is there.
Special.
Tommy Cormier, who's their captain again? I can't think of his name. Maxime.
Oh, come on, here.
I can find it. Victoriaville Tigre. Obviously Brunet's a big loss. They got Pierre-Olivier Waugh, the defenseman.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big gain. or Gain. I guess they already had him. Francesco Iasenza they got last year from Moncton. Maxime Pellerin, that's who it is. They got Prishchapov, Justin Gendron, Tommy Cormier, Noah LaRochelle, Mile Levine. This team will be good. They'll be best goalie tandem in the league.
Justin Lacrosse had a really good year last year too. 25 points, not like subpar, but these guys he's an 0-4. Keep getting. There's a lot of 0-4s on this team, is what I'm looking at right now.
Mathis Lacroix.
Yeah.
He's he a goalie?
No. I said Justin Lacrosse.
Oh, Justin Lacrosse. Okay. LaRose.
Sorry, my French is horrible, boys.
That's okay.
Sorry for the viewers listening. My French isn't. I almost failed French, so give me a break here.
Okay, so in that division we have Drummondville, Victoriaville, Sherbrooke as well. And why can't I find the fourth team on there? Oh, Shawinigan, that's who it is. Okay, I'll go first. I've got Drummondville, obviously, Victoriaville, Shawinigan, Sherbrooke. I think Victoriaville's goalie tandem is way too strong to not be second in this division. I could also see them taking first easily.
Yeah.
But gotta support the boy Luke Woodworth and Lamoureux.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to copy it because I don't really see much of a Voyagers, Tigra, and the Cats, and then the Phoenix for me. Yeah.
All right. Last but not least, we have the East Division. Baie-Comeau, fourth in the division last year, lost in the first round to Moncton in 7 games, 5 overtime games. So they picked up Justin Gill. They picked up Jules Boilard. They picked up Sean Pearson. Didn't really lose anyone except Charles-Antoine Dumont, who aged out. Isaac Dufort, Felix Gagnon, Justin Gill, and Matthias Malowski are at NHL camps. We're running short on time. What can you say quickly on Baie-Comeau?
Didn't really change much. Isaac Dufort, that's kind of a key addition to that team. Obviously, he's going to be playing. Did he get invited to the NHL camp? Is that what you just said? Yeah. But Matt McDonald obviously played last year. He had a terrific year. He had a bit of a slump at the start of his Q career, but now he's just rising up with Baie-Comeau, and I think a lot of these guys are going to do something special. But I think they'll be average. So that's not.
Still got Justin Poirier too.
Yeah.
They also got Nick Svanenko on the back end.
Yeah. They'll be all right, in my opinion.
They also drafted, I want to make sure he's on the team this year, Jabez Seymour, they got in the first round of the Q draft. They also picked up, I swear to God, I saw a 9th pick. Maybe not. Yeah, so they got Seymour in the first round. They'll be all right. They're young. They're on the upswing.
Yeah.
Next up, Chicoutimi, second in the division last year, lost in the first round to Rimouski 4-1. They picked up Mathis Fernandez, the goaltender from Val d'Or, and they lost Mateo Mann, Andre Loshko, Thomas Bégin, and Etienne Tremblay-Mathieu, and also lost Charles-Antoine Lavallée, Romain Rosinski, and Zach Gravel. And they got one guy at NHL camp, Norwin Panoka. Yeah, another team that I'm not quite sure what they've got going on.
Yeah, they're in the mid rebuild, but also kind of awkward stage. But I don't really see them going too far.
They did get Emile Goutet, 2nd overall, so that's promising.
Yeah.
They also got Jonathan Prudhomme, 8th overall. Alex Wang, 5th overall. Oh man, Nathan Lecomte, 4th overall.
So what I'm hearing is they'll have a good couple years in the future for sure.
What I'm hearing is they could be good, and they could be good quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think.
Do you think a lot of those rookies are going to be playing though? A lot of those draft picks.
Well, it's confirmed that Huang is.
Okay.
Prudhomme is. Pinoca they got from Germany. He'll be playing. And Goutet is injured right now, but I'd imagine he's going to play. And Lecomte is playing. So,
yeah, sweet.
They've got an interesting mix of 03s, 04s, 07s.
Yeah.
And we can't forget Maxim Masse is still there. Emmanuel Vermette still there.
It's a huge
Thomas
piece.
DeRousseau is still there. They'll be okay. Yeah, and Mathis Fernandez was a huge pickup. Yeah. Huge pickup. Next up, we got the Quebec Ramparts. Get ready to hear some more losses.
Yeah, this is going to be a big one, too.
Obviously, won the Memorial Cup. They picked up Simon Malte and Antoine Michaud and Charles-Olivier Villeneuve. They lost Charles Turchon, who went to Rimouski, William Rousseau to Rouen-Noranda, Jeremy Langlois to Rouen-Noranda. Zach Bolduc Pro, Theo Rochette aged out, Pierre-Olivier Waugh aged out, James Malatesta Pro, Nico Savoie aged out, Nathan Gauthier Pro, Justin Robida Pro, Evan Noss Pro. And they've got Veselad Komarov at Buffalo camp and Quentin Miller at Montreal camp. The Quebec Ramparts are going to be what, Theo?
Same with all these other guys, all these other teams that did terrific last year and kind of not so good now. Quentin Miller, though, since I'm a Habs fan, I know he's sick. He's unreal. It's what all the scouts are saying. But yeah, another long year, in my opinion, for the Ramparts.
Well, the thing is,
I'm acting like they have another long year, but I'm just saying it's going to start to have a long year.
The thing is, Quebec, in my knowledge, has never been bad.
No.
They're always like mid-pack.
Mm-hmm.
Can't remember the last time they missed the playoffs.
Yeah, and that's just with coaching, too. Coaching is a big factor in this league.
They got an 07 on their roster named Xavier Lebel. Like, for all I know, he could be nasty.
Yeah, we have no idea, but hey.
Yeah, they got Mikhail Huchet, who's back. Kasim Gaudet's back. It's funny. All the guys that are returning, they have, like, their numbers beside them. Like, their player numbers, and there's 4. That's not good.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So
I mean, they did it right though last year. They obviously knew what they were doing, and look, they won everything.
And last but not least, we had the Rimouski Oceanic, 69 points. Nice. Lost second round of Quebec via sweep. Picked up Olivier Bordeaux from the Sea Dogs, Mikhail Denis from Blainville, and Vincent Filion from Moncton. They lost Corey McGilvery, Jules Boyard, Mathis Gauthier, Simon Malte. A lot of turnover in this Rimouski team. They lost William Dumoulin, Luca Varro, and Xavier Filion, who aged out. Mathis Aguilar, Julien Bailin, Luke Coughlin, Charles Cote, and Lucas Hess, I'm going to guess, are all at camp. Obviously, when we say these guys are at camp, like, they're not going to be there the whole season. They're not going to be in the NHL the whole season.
Just for some of it.
I know the Mooseheads are missing like 4 guys in their home opener.
Yeah.
So they still got Spencer Gill on their team. They're going with a goalie duo. Looks like a Filion and Cedric Masse. Mikhail Denis is there. Balan, Jan Sprinar, who was very good last year. Quinn Kennedy, hopefully he'll turn it up. What do we like out of the Oceanic?
Well, yeah, this is Rimouski. It's they obviously did great against Chicoutimi. That was a wild series. I remember watching that. But losing those pieces again, it's hard to say with all these guys. Yeah, losing what's his name? Let's look. You just mentioned it, but I'm blanking.
Varro.
Yeah, Varro. He was one of the biggest X factors on the team, and now I don't know, where would you put him? I don't know. It's this division is probably the weirdest division, I would say, of where to put these guys because obviously they're struggling. But yeah.
So check this out. The Oceanic drafted a goaltender, William Lassell, 10th overall.
Yeah.
He's not on the team this year.
Why not?
In 3 games with Lac St. Louis, he's played 3 games, 0.97 goals against, and a .966 save percentage.
How are you?
Why didn't this guy play in the queue?
Yeah, that's.
I don't know if he wouldn't be keeping NCAA because he'd be playing like USHL. Well, okay, he got drafted by Waterloo in the USHL draft. Why wouldn't you want to play in Rimouski? Rimouski's in my opinion, one of the best rinks in the league.
One of my buddies' brothers, Philip Gusso, said Rimouski is maybe not the nicest town, but the fans are just absolutely insane. Like you go into a mall and they like want to have your autograph right away. Like they know who you are. It's pretty cool.
All right. Your predictions for the East Division.
Sorry, you cut out.
Oh, sorry. Your predictions for the East Division.
East Division. All right. So you gotta. This might be. I love the hot takes though. We're going with your car at first. Baie-Comeau at first. Then we're gonna have the Rimouski second. Shawinigan third. And the Ramparts fourth.
Shawinigan, you mean Chicoutimi?
Chicoutimi, sorry. Excuse me.
I'm so tossed up right now.
These are hard. Like I hate predicting because I know I'm gonna get screwed up here in a few months.
Okay. Chicoutimi will win the East Division.
Okay.
Followed by Baie-Comeau.
Yeah.
Rimouski.
Yeah.
And I don't think the Ramparts will.
Yeah, that's not a bad take.
All right, my last couple questions for you. Who's going to miss the playoffs? Which 2 teams?
Out of in the East?
No, just in the whole league. So right now.
Yeah. I just need to check overall here. Just a sec here. I would say for the Western Conference. Oof. Is that a hot take to say Gatineau?
No. I think that'll be
Gatineau for Western and Eastern. I would say. Ooh. It's kind of weird if you put the Ramparts and Gatineau both in last. I don't think
it's easy for me.
Do you think?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll copy you. How about that?
Okay.
Another one could be on the fence would be for the Eastern. I would say maybe I think the Dogs will do better.
Okay.
I'd say Dogs, but I don't know.
I've got Gatineau in the West. Bathurst in the East.
You think, eh? You don't think they'll improve after last year?
Or Charlottetown.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be a Maritime team missing the playoffs.
Okay. All right.
Maybe Charlottetown.
You're switching it up now.
Well, I can't remember who their goalie is anymore. It's been a long offseason, man. Okay, so they got 2 rookie goalies. Apparently this Ozalis is supposed to be nasty. They got a goalie from Latvia, and I was watching highlights, and he's pretty nasty.
Nice. If you had to pick one.
That's a coin flip. I've got a coin.
Yeah.
All right. Heads is going to be Charlottetown.
Yeah.
Tails is going to be Bathurst.
Okay. I got that.
No, it's Bathurst.
Okay. All right.
Picking Bathurst.
All right.
They didn't have any picks in the first 2 rounds. Or sorry, they didn't have any picks in the first round. Charlottetown got Owen Conrad, who's supposed to be good. That import goalie is supposed to be good.
Yeah.
Finals prediction.
Oh, oof. Finals prediction. All right, from the East. I might be biased, but I got the Moose.
I don't think you're biased. I've heard a lot of predictions say the Moose are going to win the East.
Yeah. Western. I got the Huskies.
Yeah, I've got the same thing. So
right.
I think that's everyone's consensus.
Yeah.
I would like to take this time to say sorry to our fans for not doing as much in the off season. I had a lot of stuff going on personally, but we're doing our best to bring you as much content as we can throughout the school year.
Absolutely.
So, we're doing our best here. Always let us know if you have suggestions for the show. If you have interview guys that you want us to bring on, let us know. We always appreciate feedback, even if it's awful feedback. We'll take it.
Yeah.
I think that'll do it for this episode. You have anything else?
No. Thanks everybody for watching. And we'll be sure to grind this whole year, and hope you guys enjoy.
Follow our Instagram, QReview_pod. Maybe we'll get a TikTok someday.
Oh.
Twitter or X or whatever Elon Musk owns.
Yeah.
Follow that, QReview_pod. You find this on YouTube. Of course, if you're watching it on YouTube, you'll see that. And Spotify, Apple Music, Google, apparently.
Everything.
But yeah. We're sorry for the lack of content. We're going to do our best to get those all-time teams out. Let us know your predictions. DM us if you have any questions or if you have any suggestions. I'd love to hear it. Once again, Q Review Season 2, Episode 1. Thank you all for joining to the unofficial podcast of the QMJHL.